Hey all, this is Nosis. Welcome to more Brotato and Visual Terrors DLC. And this is tier 4 warrior, and this is part 2. And we're doing Yak now. We did the streamer, which didn't survive super long into endless and stuff. That's right, but it was very obvious why, considering like how much easy it was on the Artificier. But on the Artificier, for example, you had like explosion damage, and you could also increase your explosion damage size from like having like elemental damage or whatever it is. So that also meant that, for example, like I managed to get like a TNT early on that increased explosion damage, and I believe those explosion damage increases that you get still affects like the explosion size and damage of like the actual rocket turret and stuff, that right, the tier 4 turret from the wrenches. Stuff that actually does get affected by things, but yeah. So we're doing it with Yak now, and with Yak you get way less enemies, stuff that, right. More attack speed, yes. There's another spoon. Get that. What's respawn? Get the health regen. There's the explosion size, by the way, which is really good. Here we go for explosive weapons, but yeah, but it's the explosive that is the explosion size, and it's the TNT that is the other thing. Weird food, yes. Man, I would really want the fireball though. Yes, let's lock that. There's the cyber ball, which is dependent on luck though. So now there's another spoon, and there's a dangerous bunny. And keep in mind that I will try and roll aggressively or combine aggressively so we can get the red spoon. Because of that, Because, right, the fact that you gain so many materials is like really powerful with this and stuff that, which means, of course, this character benefits a lot from getting very powerful weapons quickly and stuff that, We have only gotten one scared sausage so far and stuff that, so, that is something to also think about, Our health aren't super high yet, because the health is also going to be important, as well as the melee damage is also going to be important. Because not everything will scale with elemental damage, like the spoons don't scale with elemental damage yet. Because I really hope. Okay, get the jelly used because it's free there. Get the snail as well. Attack speed. Max health, yes. Bunny. Get the fireball. Those combine. And then we have a red spoon. Sucks attack speed, yeah, Written elemental damage, yes. Jerky, yes. Luck, yes. So now we have a red spoon, and it scales 50% via melee and 25% via the health. We also have the fireball, which has an explosion effect, by the way, which actually also gets affected by explosion size. So right, yeah, explosive element, yeah. I mean, I would love to make like a fireball run, but I don't know if there's any character. I mean, I know that the king can get fireballs, because we did check that out. Because the first time when I did the run with the king was a bit annoying, because, right, what I wish the king would have had is instead, so that instead of like gaining negative stats from like tier 1 items or tier like 1 weapons, specifically just have it so tier 1 weapons cannot appear at all in the shop and stuff that, You might think, oh, but that will make it harder, but that's how I played it. Basically, I refused to get any tier 1 weapons at all. Meaning that for a really long time, you're only on like 1 weapon or whatever, right? You know, stuff that, you know. Okay, elemental and HP region, yes. Recycle, yes. Attack speed. Another spoon. Get that. That's not worth it because minus 3 knockback. Yes. Yes. Combine 2 spoons. Explosion damage. Another spicy sauce. Candle. Yeah, reduces enemies. Thunder sword. Yes. He is burning. But the question is that because of the thunder sword or is that because the other thing? But yeah, you know. I mean, we could go for one of each weapon if we really want to and stuff that, you know. There are other weapons that I could put into the build that could also still make it work and stuff that, like, maybe a red spoon is all we need, right? You know, and stuff that, you know, maybe it's better to just go with several different weapons, right? Because, you know, because we know about the shopper being good because that gives via max health and stuff that, you know. Sometimes I find it way more fun to just have different weapons and stuff that, right? Some people say, oh, that's what makes things harder, but then you can have more different areas covered. Okay, there's a Reformation hoodie, max health, 3 elemental damage. Thunder sword first, candle, combine thunder sword. Max HP, even though that decreases luck. Fireball. Yeah, get rid of the spoon, get the torch, lock the lure. I probably could have gone and tried to search for another torch there, maybe. You know, max health is pretty decent also, you know, and stuff that, and yes, you have way more enemies with this, but with Candle we also have even more reduced enemies. We have like 80% less enemies, which, you know, is something. Yeah, but the Candle is also like just more elemental damage and more HP regen. That also means, for example, that then, for example, if you have the Candle, and if you have, there are something else that also removes like enemies, like the white flag, for example. Like white flags can counteract having like the gentle alien on and stuff like that, yeah. But now it feels way safer to pick up gentle aliens if they appear. But now then, like, is there even chance that the gentle aliens can still appear, you know, and stuff like that, you know. That's engineering now. Speed. There's the pearl. We have very little luck there, so, you know, combine those though. Get this, get the luck. Even though it's very little damage from it. Jelly, yes. And a whistle. Nice. So yeah, what's our explosion size? Our explosion damage is 15% more damage though, because we did get a dynamite and stuff like that. So the C4, if we see it again, and keep in mind that the dynamite and the plastic explosive, none of them are unique, by the way, so, you know, that's very useful as well. I mean, I feel like right that once you have enough damage, then gentle aliens wouldn't be bad and stuff that, you know. Man, that's a lot of... Damn, that's a lot of chests, man. This could end up being absolutely hilarious here. Come on! Recycle. 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 Nah, recycle. Ooh, elemental and HP regen. Luck, please, because luck is more damage. Get that, get that, get the whistle. Sweet, sweet. Get the torch. No, we don't need the garden. More penguins. That. We'll max health from that eventually. There's the cleaver. Ooh. Rings damage and metal damage. Needs to use -1 knockback. Boom. There's the cleaver, by the way. Look. The cleaver. Yeah, we're a bit of an odd chef, you know. Stuff that, you know. Yeah, it's his own chef. Like Beanstalk. Why don't see beanstalks? And yes, I know it's mostly the lightning sword that is carrying us and stuff that, you know. And it's so crazy that the lightning sword is so good and it's not even like a legendary and stuff that, you know. I mean, there are other purple weapons that is true for as well, you know. Uh, 2% damage. Get that, get this. Lock the tentacle. Nah. That is going to decrease our luck. Which we really don't want right now. Now they have the short burst, so the thing that scales with health is the spoon and this blade here. And it means also that just having that just makes consumables heal for more. Or we can actually solo him here. Of course we can, because we have a lot of damage, because we're a giant slayer. You know. But the question is though, right, does that mean that enemies just get tough, like significantly faster when you play as this character than if you play him into, you know, overtime or into, you know, the thing? So maybe it's just the goal is just to get, you know, as little enemies as possible or whatever, right? Because wouldn't that be a way to survive like insanely long and stuff that if you can use increase them up? Brotato! Which has no negative at all about it, you know. Attack speed. First spear though. That is a primitive replaced by primitive. Good. And it's a blue one, right? Yeah, it's a blue one. Get this. Ooh, get the alien eyes because that gives via health. So we have a purple one, spear. I don't know what's good even about the spear because like often the things that you want to have cursed is things that have like a secondary effect on it. There's some padding there. Oh look, there is the plasma sledge. It's actually deals. Yeah, and am I just gonna go for whatever we find as cursed? Maybe, but it depends on what slot we're talking about. Because, you know, it only has a 6+ curse, of course, but yeah, but it's just... It scales more via the melee damage than normal. It has pretty decent range for being a melee weapon, because we don't have any range increases, and it has 400 range for a melee weapon from spear. Then yeah, we could be a primitive chef if we really want to, but then we would need some different things because blade doesn't fit in the primitive section. The torch fits, of course. The fireball could kind of fit if they were like shamans or something like that. If you think about like, okay, like the you know, because the good thing, of course, with the primitive stuff is that the primitive stuff gives us max health. Primitive stuff. Now, which is useful. Yeah, they're really tanky. Yes, for every 1% speed you have, yeah, we don't have a lot of speed. Like no. Plasma sledge, remove the chopper. Get that for more crit again. And if we had an anvil, man, that would be really, really good. Plasma sledge is interesting because the plasma sledge belongs to elemental and to explosive as well. As the fireball does as well. So currently Spoon is actually dealing the most damage right now. Because during the last wave they mean this wave actually. So you can see. But the highest is the plasma sledge actually. Because it scales 150% via melee damage and 150% via elemental damage. So if you have a lot of melee damage and elemental damage, then that's really, really good. You actually have zero melee damage because you have to realize that it's not all about the percentage damage. Like if you get a lot of melee damage with certain weapons, they get like really, really powerful, you know. I feel like speed, right, is going to be important as well, right? Because we're not very good at picking up the stuff. Of course, there's very little enemies, so you know. Absolutely no problem so far. Yeah, so life steal under dodge. Yes. No. More elemental damage. Burning from that. Yes. Primitive hatchet though. That's the thing, both of these are primitive. And we could do a primitive build. But then, right, maybe like sacrificing this thing. That did 4,000 damage, that did 3,106. That did 4,653, that did 4,272, and the primitive torch didn't do that much. That doesn't mean that these are bad though, necessarily, the primitive stuff here. Because these scales with attack speed, they're pretty decent attack speed. Attacks have a 25% chance to deal 6 times 48. So normally, right, if we compare it here, attacks have a 25% chance to deal 3 times 47 because it scales via the burning damage. And yeah, but that is 6 times 48. So it's only +1 in the damage department, but it does that 6 times instead. Which is of course absolutely insane. Or not that insane because we have very low curse there. We have a purple torch store here. I buy me spoon. Hello, torch. Fireball though. Yes. So we're gonna change up the build a bit here. And stuff that, you know. Because right, we could like, because this is primitive, this is not primitive. We could go for like 3 torches and 3 fireballs. It's something maybe we could do. And stuff that. Right, and yes, it would be really, really bad to give up the lightning blade and stuff that, you know. Because I feel like the whole point of the build is meant to be that we are doing burning stuff, and not the other thing. And the thing is that we can scale both of those or majority of them scales the damage via elemental, and the other one is via melee and elemental. And both of them are dealing burning damage and stuff that, and both of them, or like one of them is primitive, and the other one will also benefit from explosion thing. I mean, we might just only go with the fireball, because the fireball would also, like, if we go with this, we can gain more max health, and more max health is of course good for certain parts of the scaling and stuff that, because there was something that was right, you know, this gets affected by max health. The spoon of course got affected by max health, nothing else there. I think there was other thing that were affected by max health or whatever. Yeah, this explosive damage from the spicy sauce gets affected by max health as well. So, you know, so maybe we just go for fireballs. That could also be a build idea, you know, just go for fireballs. No. I feel like the fireballs generally tend to be pretty rare though. So, melee damage, yes. But this ain't melee though. So let's just do this. Get the sub ball because it's via luck. There's a fin, there's that. And there's a torch though, yes. Because then we can combine both torches. And we can combine both the fireballs. One tier higher. Voodoo. There's another plasma sledge though. Fine. But this is a spear. Okay. And there's a sniper gun. Yeah, but that's affected by range, and we don't have any range increase at all. In this case, we have range damage, and we don't have any range damage at all. We have -6 on range damage. Medical leaf, yes. That's actually very good. The peaceful bee. I won't have 4 weapons now. Maybe we just go with one of each of the things, because this will still count as both elemental and explosive, which is the same as the fireball. Because the important thing is that everything is elemental. I feel like that's going to be the most important thing, except for this, of course, spear, which we're going to get rid of. We're gonna go into endless course, obviously, so you know. The plasma sledge is also gonna become pretty bonkers soon as well, you know. You can see without the lightning sword how much worse things are. Because it's just that spread the damage so well. Of course, the fireball is not bad by any means, but yeah, but how much do we have? We have 37 elemental damage, which is pretty decent. Burning activates faster, yes. Yes. We have very low armor. Get the peaceful bee because that was cursed, get that. We cannot afford a leaf, boom. Or can we if we... yes, we can. Get that. Reroll. Bunny. Reroll. Yeah, good. So now we have 3. And that's 50% chance to explode on it. So yeah, we have... everything is an elemental though. So we have 3 elemental weapons. And we have 2 that counts as being explosive. So we're going to endless. Hopefully we can survive this here. You know, it is a bit sus because we don't have like towers we can rely on or anything. How much did we consume again? Yeah, consumables if 10. It's quite crazy. And, you know, like one of the weapons are of course melee, and then like we have one that is like ranged and shit explode, you know. There we go. Nice. Does that mean that we're gonna like be using like the rocket launcher? You know, I don't know exactly, you know, and stuff that, you know, it would be nice to have like one of each weapon because of course then if we get more jellies can scale very well if you get several of them. Because, you know, because yeah, but if of course if one of the jellies set curse, for example, like the jelly as it reads is like 1 max HP for every different weapon you have. And this means that it shows up as 3 here, but then it's 3 twice, so it provides us with 6 HP from having 2 jellies. But for example, if it gets cursed, I believe it can. I forgot what maximum curse is on it, right, and stuff there. But I mean, like imagine, right, if we get like 4 HP or something like that per like thing, right? How insane that would just be, you know, stuff that, you know. And this wave is good for just earning absolute huge amounts of thing, you know, and stuff that, you know. And the main problem here, of course, as you can see, is that we cannot pick up nearly everything, you know, and stuff that. Reclamation hoodie, yes, we can finally get a bunch of attack speed from it because we now have a lot of dodge. So what's our attack speed? 90 to 138%. Nice. Yes. The gnome, so we can get more elemental items and more melee damage. Yes. And more speed. Extra stomach, yes. Golden, yes. We already have. We don't want icicle though. Extra that. More HP. Black flag. Knockback. And more fireball and more torches would be so nice though. For how much elemental damage have. That would give us 50 engineering though. Because that just takes that out of the way, you know. Sometimes you have to think about stuff like that as well. But that just removes that from being ever showing up again and stuff that, you know. I fell into a burning ring of fire. And it burns, 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 and flames went higher. He looks like a silly gnome. I think about that, yeah, we only have 3 weapons and stuff that, but you know. I mean, there are more elemental weapons than this, of course. We have the torch, we have the fireball, we have the hammer, I need to look out specifically for the fact that it's elemental or explosive. So that, because maybe we have all the ones that are like a combo like this, like elemental and explosive, whatever. I mean, I know that we skipped out on one of the elemental weapons, we skipped out on the icicle, but the icicle does not do burning damage. I mean, this stacks the elemental damage and technically does not burn and stuff like that, but still, you know. So how many more gas sausages? We can get 2 more. So. Lemonade. Yes, that is via luck. Attack speed. A little muscly dude. There's a sunken bell. That is 10% attack and 50 range, and yes. Get that, get the tooth. Another potato though. Another potato shows up. Obliterator though. What does Obliterator technically do? That's heavy and cuts us again. It is a lot of damage. It gives 1000% with range. Okay. It has a 20% chance to create. It fires pretty slowly. With the attack speed that we have 168%. It has very, very high range though. There's campfire. Okay, the sunken bed is pretty insane though. Because, yeah. You explode for over 1000 damage. It gets 500% with melee, ranged, elemental, and yeah. And the gummy circular is of course insane when it's... I mean, that's probably not the best because normally it's what 5% attack speed. But this of course doubles the range. So it's basically a doubling of the attack speed. It's a doubling of the range. And it's -1 armor. Which is like you're giving up 1 armor for like a shit ton of extra range. Stuff that. But we're -83 range though. You know, that's a bit, you know. Yeah, the thing is also getting the gentle alien might still be a trap and stuff that, like, you know. The fact that we have seen no fish hook yet is like weird, though. But yeah, the black flag is still good, but of course that if we had more curse, then right, the fish hook would be really, really good because more cursed enemies would mean we could get more resources, and since we already gain a huge boost to resources because we're Yak, you know. And melee damage, yes. Yes, we can get a regular gummy berserker as well. Elemental damage. Get that, get harvesting, materials when we pick up crate. That's also up elemental, right? Yes. You know, I know how good the lightning shiv is. I do remember. Bean teacher. Garden, Dude. Silver bullet, yeah, silver bullet stacks. I mean, that is way stronger than a regular silver bullet. That would be like having like what? Is it 25%? It is with the silver bullet, right? 25%. So this is like, it's like 4. It's more than 4, then it's 5, right? Yeah. 25, 50, 75, 100, yeah. 125. So it's like having 4 the silver bullets if I read it correctly. It's like he's starting with 4 silver bullets. But of course the fact that also you gain... How many enemies do we have? We have minus 70% enemies. So we have gotten something that have increased enemies. Because we were down to 80% at one point. So you know... That's haven't made it damage though. 56% like elemental damage, by the way. So you know, much is scared sausage just doing then? So yeah, so that is 6 times 86 damage from that. And that has dealt 7,076 damage actually. And that is in total what it has done, of course. Yeah, the fireball is actually in the lead in terms of the damage. So I mean, makes sense, right? Because the fireball is ranged. I need Fire Mario in this. Huh? But it's sometimes like really weird, right? You know, like sometimes I like the default design of certain characters, but then like a lot of characters end up being ridiculous. Imagine if you did like a role-playing run or whatever, right? That, oh, I want my character to actually look like a pirate and stuff that, right? So there would only be certain items that you could pick up, right? That wouldn't ruin like the pirate look, you know, and stuff that, you know. Something, you know. Yes, cute monkey, little muscle dude. And 4 elemental damage, so but this is a lot of luck. Yeah, it's 25% from the silver bullet. Being teacher, a detector. More luck via that because we have a lot of HP regeneration. We can lock a medal. There's a legendary fireball. Damn it. Coupon. That's range damage though, but yeah, but that's 7% damage and 10 plus range as well. Yes, that is worth it. Heavy ball is somewhat. Oh, we are burning faster, right? Yeah, we're burning speed is 40% and we're burning speed is 1. Keep in mind that the curse 3 does actually work, by the way, because there was at one point when I'd only gotten 1-3, whatever I think it was, and it was cursed. And I believe that 1-3 counted as being 3-3, so whatever, you know. We picked up the extra stomach, by the way, yes we did. And that's because if you heal when you're at max health, it should give you 1. But sometimes I feel, if you pick it up too quickly, then it sometimes does not count, for whatever weird reason sometimes, but yeah. Definitely the extra stomach is only one of, you know. You cannot get several of it, you know. There's another scare sausage. More luck. Heavy bullets first. That then. Another scare sausage, so now we have all the scare sausages. That's another speed for little reduce range, we do that. That's a purple lightning shield. Yes. Okay, that's quite a lot of damage that we're taking, so we have to be a little bit careful here. Here, what's the clock? It's not that much, yeah. No, we are recording, right? Yeah. That would have been silly otherwise. Oh, we're only at 36 curse so far, but yeah. Yes, I know that we're losing harvesting every round and stuff. That there is a way to keep the harvesting in a positive, though. There are like ways to do it, you know, and stuff that because yeah. But I forgot if there are something that can use the infinity scale your harvesting or the right. Yes. Yes. No. No. Let's be reading, please. So we get that first, and then we get rid of this one. Get that, get that, get that. More luck. Range. Artificier. Silver bullet. Oh, that would be more enemies though. No. Because that would be only good if we have reduced speed. So this would decrease our health regen by a lot. I want the power fist. Even though it's not elemental damage, but it has a chance to explode on hit. Got a power fist, by the way. Which I feel makes it worth it, you know. Still. Because it definitely feels like the lightning shiv is what quote unquote is like the weaker version of like the thunder blade, or like the thunder sword, or whatever they call it, or lightning sword. It's again, it's like a weaker version of the destroyer. Someone has seen once or twice or whatever so far, maybe a bit more, you know, than that, but yeah. So lucky at all, lucky is that 124. How much are we getting from Pearl? Because we only have one Pearl, right? Or do we have two? No. Yeah, we're getting 12% the damage. That. Of course, and if we get like a lot of luck, for example, then we'll be losing more of it. I think trophy, yes. Panda, yes. That's a lot of luck. Crit chance, yes. Power fist. That. Reroll. Medal. Yes. Ooh, Cyberball cursed. Helmet cursed. Stay close to them, not too close. Yeah, that's a good thing actually, that the big threat really that the bosses can do like a lot of damage, right? That we can get rid of them so much quicker. We have 0 armor, so you know, we are reliant on our HP being huge. It's that. This isn't gonna always work, you know. Okay. It's gonna be a pretty decent amount of materials. We have seen no treasure map so far, though. Treasure maps would be a big deal, you know, especially if our curse one shows up. Attack speed, yes. Armor, get that. Gas cannon, nah. Excel though. Or not goggles. Yeah. Or explosive shells. Because that counts as being explosive. So that's, yeah. And maybe we will finish off with trying to find the flame knuckle, or whatever they call it, the fire one. The fire punch thing. Of course, yes, there is a regular power fist, but there's no like mega power fist or anything, you know. No silly mega power fist. Okay, we're getting a lot less this round, it seems like. Material-wise. So lifesteal that. Okay, 20% lifesteal. Okay, chameleon is just good. More luck. Yes, yeah. We're standing still. You can gain one more weapon as well. We still, of course, also need another one of those purple shifts, or or another purple pathway, so we can get it up to red level. We are still reduced like 70% less enemies. Because I feel that just makes it so that it becomes so much more easier to control if the thing that can spawn enemies spawn. It just becomes more manageable and stuff like that, so it's probably good that we didn't pick up a single like gentle alien and stuff. That was probably a good idea. Max health. More luck. Get some range damage. Get that first, get that. Cursed plasma sledge though. How much are you, by the way? Yes, we can afford it then. Here's the thing, like the balancing can be insane if it gets cursed. Because if it gets cursed, for example, then it can get reduced by like 0.34 seconds between attack. And most weapons aren't going to be faster than that, yeah, but sure, but all of my are very quick, but that's just because you have 211% attack speed. So there's another jelly. There's the nail. Yeah. We're taking a lot of damage, so we still need to be careful here actually. Can I hit? Piece of luck, what can do would be more healing. This was getting really scary actually because there's a lot of. It's just that it's the projectiles that always kills you. So that it's projectiles, man. Going for it, we're going for it all. Okay, now that's really scary to do. Right, here again we're more lifesteal. 1% lifesteal, yeah, when we have like a lot of lifesteal that we have picked up in total. This is spicy sauce. More trees. That could be insane. 46 XP again, 189% even though that's more enemy damage. Next is wave 31 though, and elite will appear wave 32. Get 2% damage for every one lifesteal, so we are 146% damage. And that's unique, right? Yeah. There's an area. Weapon addition in this case with 20% engineering, we have 68 engineering. We haven't really been picking up that many engineering items really if you consider it. No. But that's also because we have the elemental thing right. I think we have the elemental thing right. We picked up the elemental thing think we picked up the elemental thing also, right? That gives us like that. That makes so yeah. So in one engineering for every permanent one elemental damage we have, so we can just get a lot of engineering from having elemental damage. You know. So now the nail is a big deal now with our damage. It's going to increase our damage by a lot. As you can see, as long as there are no bosses, no like boss style enemies, like things are a lot easier. But also I feel like we could probably have killed one of the bosses and stuff, but it was hard to like separate them or whatever, right? Because if we could have quote unquote separated the bosses, they would have been like easier to kill. Burning deals. Yes. That is really good. Crit. Get the range damage. 12% speed. Get that. I don't go for that at all. More attack speed, more living enemies, yes. Even though that would never be super much, but you know, doing so much damage now. Sting like a ding dong. Nah, we're gonna walk right into that. We're just, and that is what gives you the giant spells off. God damn it. But because I know how much like this use carries you, you just get the giant belt and then you just get carried. Like there are also reasons why you can make it like very far is because of the giant belt. Because if you read the giant belt, it's unique. All critical hits deal 10% of one enemy's current health as bonus damage, 1% for bosses and elites. It's kind of like what this does as well, the Greek Fire. Burn these additional 10% of current enemies FPS damage. It's same as this, but that's via crits. And that's specifically burning. And then 1% for bosses and elites. It's also 1% for bosses and elites. But for example, you could quote curse if you get curse, for example, on Giant's Belt. If you get curse on Giant's Belt, and if you, for example, get curse on, but I believe we actually had the effect active for that wave. I'm pretty certain that we had that effect active. Yeah. Yeah, 256% XP gain. Yeah, I think we were still under the effects of this. So they did more damage, 25% more damage during that wave. So yeah. Maybe it would have been doable if I would have tried to focus more on rotating the thing. We didn't have any tardigrades, right? I don't think I had a single tardigrade. I mean, even if we had a tardigrade, the tardigrade would have sent immediately. Yeah, we didn't get a single tardigrade, but yeah. I mean, we made it to wave 32, not the best thing I've done. But yeah, I'm just gonna go grab some more water before we start the final run. Because we only have one more character to do it with. And that is going to be the Machosist character. And then we will have gotten all the quote-unquote unlocks, so to speak. So that means, of course, we want to take damage. We want to get more health, more regen, more armor, and stuff like that, because you gain more damage. But I feel like that is stackable, right? That cannot be only that you get 5% damage in some, which is why you have the 100% like damage decrease. So you want to actually take damage and stuff like that, yeah. I'm just gonna go some water first. Stuff like that, yeah. Before I continue on. Just need to check this if this was empty as well. Okay, so let's see. Um, let's see how this will go here. So what weapons can we have? So we're gaining like very, very little damage, of course. It's going to be a bit of an issue. Like I don't want to go with things that we use now are powerful and stuff that. Or you can't have the ghost, but you can have the ghost axe. You can have this. It's actually scaled with lifesteal. We know that the burning works. And this can make enemy take more damage. We got the loot. Cycle is also interesting because cycle is... Where is the time? It's time. You may proceed. So, that is 80% more damage. Oh, I took damage. 75%, okay. Oh, I took damage, okay. So it's giving you 5% each time you take damage, meaning, for example, like what do we start with? Armor-wise, we start with 8 armor, we start with 20 max HP, we start with 20 HP regen. Meaning that we want to try and keep the health and the health regen kind of the same. Attack speed is going to be really good. But that is so cheap early on though. But that can just cause a burning to happen. Yeah. Normally, right, as I say, normally I won't use the weapons very aggressively and stuff like that, you know. And we could also roll just for a bunch of damage as well, so we don't have to take damage, right? Stuff like that as well, but you know. Damage. Get that first, get more to respawn. Reroll. And we only have 3 shotguns so far. But here the goal is to always make sure that we have a lot of weapons here. Because it is a bit slow to shoot with. Because I've said before that I would like to get the double-barreled shotgun to work. Probably like do a build with stuff like that, but yeah. I mean, it does have the really, really big knockback, and it does have like a lot of piercing. But yeah, but then you also need the scaling via range damage, so we need to pick up every single time we see something that gives you range damage. We need to pick it up, almost. Even though it's only 1 range damage in that situation, attack speed. That reduces our range, so did we have range increase by default?